Okay, so welcome back. So in the first video we just built this form. Now we need to fix it up so it actually works, i.e. sends an email or puts the information from the form into my email, plus tidy up a few other things in the form as well. Now just before we left off, I was trying to get the text area a little bit bigger. Okay, so to do that I've typed in, the reason it's not working is I typed in col and row. It needs to be plural, so cols and rows, and that should fix it up. So 5 columns long and 20 columns wide is that much there. So if we wanted to make it bigger, you can just add some more to this, 8 and 30. Alright, and that's made that a little bit bigger. Okay, another thing which I realised which I've left off the form from your example is a clear button. Okay, so we'll add that in here, and that's simply an input with a type equals reset value equals clear. Okay, that's what the button will say, and that's what it does, reset. So let's check that out. There we go, clear. Alright, so if we type some information in here, hit clear, it'll reset that button there. Okay, now we need to go through and actually fill out this form. You'll also notice one thing, these radio buttons are not working at the moment. You'll see radio buttons should be one or the other. I shouldn't be able to select 2 of the radio buttons, but we'll fix that up when we put in the name attributes into each of these items. So what we're going to do now is go through our form, and for every single one we need to say, right, we want you to send, when this form submits, the form has a value. Okay, now at the moment we've only specified that this one has a value of HTTP, so that value is populated. But when you submit a form, anything you type in the form and hit submit becomes the value of the form. So what we're going to do now is we're going to say, right, when we submit this form, we want that value to be saved, and we want it to be saved as a variable called whatever. So to save it as a variable, you want to call put inside the attribute name. Okay, name equals, and then the name of the variable. So this is the URL, so name equals URL. And you'll see now that when we go to our form, if I refresh it, and I type in something here and hit send, when it launches our email client, okay, we've got the variable URL equals, and then whatever we entered into that field there. Okay, so that's what we're going to do now. We're going to upload all of those, or create variables for all of these things. So I'll just close that. Alright, so we've got name URL. Alright, this one here for username. Alright, name equals username. And you can call these variables whatever you want. Email, name equals email, but just on that you should name them obviously an appropriate name, just so it's easy for you to figure out what's going on. Okay, now check radio buttons. So before they weren't working, so now what we're going to do is we're going to give these actually the same name, because you only want one of these values to be submitted. Okay, you only want it to be either this one or this one. So this is the only one where you give it the same name. Okay, name equals, and this is subscribe. Okay, now radio buttons don't have a value, they won't give a value, so what we need to say is the value equals subscribe, because this is a subscribe button. And then I'm just going to copy this text and paste it in here. Radio value equals unsubscribe. Okay, but we've got the same name. So now if I save this, go back to our form, and now, there we go, you see now I can't select both buttons, it's only one or the other. So if I click unsubscribe, hit send, and because we populated that value in the HTML, it's got unsubscribe as the value there. Okay. If we changed it to subscribe and hit send, now the value is subscribe. Okay. All right. Next up, we have our checkboxes, and this will be name equals HTML, value equals yes, or HTML emails, so they can receive HTML emails, and receipt name equals receipt, value equals yes. Okay, now we're on to the select element. So the select element, for the select and options, you need to put the name inside the select element here. So name equals options, and then you put the values inside the actual option itself. So value equals option 1. Let's copy this. Value equals option 2. Okay, and so on and so forth. You could have 100 options in there. You just need to put a different value for each option. Okay, so if we save that, make sure that's working. That's the old one we had up. So go back to our form here, refresh, and we'll select option 2, send, and there we go. Okay, option 2. You notice subscribe comes up automatically, and that's because we put that down as a the default. It's checked, so by default that one's checked. Okay. All right, so that's our options text area. We've already got some text in here, but we don't have a name for it, which is why it's not coming up. So name equals comments. Okay, save. And now we should have a complete form that fills out all these things. Oh, one other thing which I haven't done, which you might want to do for certain fields, particularly things like email. You want to make sure you've got their email or username or whatever field you think is essential. You can put down required as well. So on our username, we can put required. And now if I get out of this one, I'm going to save it, refresh that. So now if I skip username and I don't put anything in there and I hit send, it won't let me send it. Once this is at browser validation, it says no, you need to fill out this form here. So I can't actually submit that form without actually putting something in there. Okay, so that's a handy one to remember. Alright, I think so far so good. We'll try option 1. Comments should come up. Please leave some comments, that's there by default. Okay, so that is pretty much everything for the form. Oh, one other thing which you can do, which just makes the emails look a lot better. When we hit send, you notice nothing's in the subject, so you can actually populate the subject here. You can even populate the CC and the BCC if you want to. So I'll show you how to do that. What I normally do for those is you don't want people to actually see that as an input. I mean, they can change the input themselves, but generally if you've got a form on your website, you want it to just be a generic subject. So what I generally do is I do an input with a type of hidden. Okay, so that means it's an input field, but the user can't actually see it and put information in it. And what you want to do is you want to give it a value, because remember they can't put a value in here, so we want to put the value in, and we want to call it I'll just put email subject in there. Okay, now once again we need to have a name. Now it's important that you make this one the name for it, the variable subject. Okay, so if we go save as a subject, and now oops, didn't hit send. No, I want to save that one, refresh, and send. Oh, usernames compulsory. Send. Okay, so subjects come up here. The subjects depends on your email client. Some email clients will allow you to do this with the post method. See how we've got the method as post, but Outlook doesn't. So to get around this, you can actually use the get method, which is just another way to send information to and from servers. So you can just change that to get, and now if we test this out, I'll have to refresh the page. Some information here and send. And there we go. So we've got email subject. Oh, okay. So the other thing is the browser will automatically convert spaces into a plus symbol. Okay, that's just so the browser can read the information you put in, because browsers don't normally like spaces inside the URLs. So if you do want a space in there, you just have to use a HTML special character. So where are we? This space here. And NBSP. Yeah, and NBSP. I think that's it. Let's go back here. Refresh. Send. Yep, and there we go, that worked. So now we've actually got a space in the subject line there. Okay, so that is how to do your form. Now, you might want to do some styling. If you want to do a little bit more styling to it, like I said, they've used tables. If you don't want to get into CSS, an easy way to just break it up a little bit is just to put a few more breaks in here. Just to separate these. What's that? Email. Leave the radio buttons together. We'll leave the checkboxes together. Oh, actually, I think the options were next to the radio buttons. So what we can do there is cut that out from now, and I'm just going to put it right next to here without a break next to it. I'll see how that looks. Yeah, there we go. So that's got our option that comes down next to our subscribe. We probably want a bit more space in there. You could normally I just do this with CSS. So what you can do in here is style equals, or just an inline styling, margin left 5 pixels, and we'll refresh that, and that's pushed it across 5 pixels. You might want to push it across a little bit more, so let's call it 15. There you go. Let's go a little bit more. 25. There you go. So now that's separate there. Just go back to our example here. Options. Please comment, send, clear. Yeah, so there you go. That's pretty much our email form done. So I will put a copy of the code in the video comments below, just in case you want that. But that's our basic form. Okay, so we've got our form. This part is obviously the important part that tells you what you're going to do with this form information here. Okay, and obviously the other important part on each of the inputs is this name element here. Okay. Alright, I hope you like this video. If you have any questions, just leave a comment or get back to me. Cheers.